Hello everyone. Welcome to Industries Part 1, Understanding the Basics. Today we are going to learn something very interesting. How things are made, how raw materials become products, and how industries work around us. So, let's begin our journey into the world of industries. Before we start, let's see what we will learn in this part. By the end of Part 1 you will be able to explain manufacturing and value addition, define what an industry is, classify industries based on raw material, size, and ownership. Identify factors that decide where industries are set up. Understand an industrial system. Inputs, process, outputs. So basically, by the end, you'll understand how industries work like a system. Now let's start with a small thinking activity. Let's do a quick starter activity. Think for just 30 seconds. How did your notebook reach you? Look at this journey. Tree pulp mill paper printing notebook market you. Isn't it surprising? A simple notebook has such a long journey. This journey is exactly what we call manufacturing and industry. So now let's understand what manufacturing really means. Now manufacturing means changing raw materials into products of more value. For example, pulp paper notebook. So pulp is not very useful directly, but when it becomes paper, it becomes more useful. And when paper becomes a notebook, it becomes even more valuable. This change is called manufacturing. And this brings us to another important idea called value addition. Now let's understand value addition. Value addition means, at each stage the product becomes more valuable and more useful. Example, cotton cloth shirt. Cotton alone cannot be worn, but cloth can be used. And a stitched shirt is even more useful and valuable. So manufacturing creates value. Now, when manufacturing happens on a large scale, we call it an industry. So let's define industry clearly. So what is an industry? Industry is an economic activity related to a production of goods, extraction of minerals, provision of services. Let's understand with examples. Iron and steel equals production of goods. A coal mining equals extraction of minerals. A tourism equals service industry. So industries are not only factories. Even services like tourism are industries. Now, since there are many kinds of industries, we need to classify them. Industries can be classified based on three main things. 1. Raw materials. 2. Size. 3. Ownership. So today we will study each one step by step. First, we will classify industries based on the raw materials they use. Industries can be classified into 4 types based on raw materials. Agro-based, a mineral-based, a marine-based, forest-based. This means industries are grouped according to where their raw materials come from. Now let's see examples for each type so it becomes very clear. Let's look at examples of each type. Agro-based industries, food processing, cotton textile, dairy, leather. Mineral-based industries, iron and steel. Marine-based industries, a seafood processing, a fish oil. Forest-based industries, a pulp and paper, pharmaceuticals, furniture. So raw materials decide the type of industry. Now the next classification is based on something else. The size of the industry. Now industries can also be classified based on their size. Size depends on a capital, money invested, workers, production volume. So based on size, industries are of 3 types. A cottage/household, small scale, large scale. Now let's understand cottage industries first because they are the smallest and simplest. Cottage industries are usually made by hand by skilled artisans. They are mostly done at home or in small workshops. Examples include a basket weaving, pottery, a handicrafts. These industries do not need big machines. They depend mainly on skills and handwork. Now we move to the next classification. Industries based on ownership. Now, industries can be classified based on who owns them. There are 4 types. A private sector, public sector, a joint sector, a cooperative sector. Ownership means who controls the company and who invests money in it. Now let's see examples of these so you can remember easily. Here are some examples. Public sector, a HAL, sale. These are owned by the government. Joint sector, Amarti Udyog Limited. This is owned by both government and private company together. Cooperative sector. Anand Milk Union Amul. Subsidiary. These are owned by a group of people, usually producers like farmers. So now we have learned classification based on raw materials, size, and ownership. Next, we move to an important question. Why are industries located in some places and not in others? Industries are located where important resources are available. These factors include a raw material, a land, water, labor, power, a capital, transport, a market. For example, a textile industry needs cotton, water, workers, and transport. Also, the government sometimes gives incentives to set up industries in backward areas. This helps in development and employment. Now, after knowing where industries are located, let's understand how an industry works like a system. An industrial system has three parts: inputs, processes, outputs. Inputs are the things we need. Processes are the steps of production. And outputs are the final products. This is like a simple flow system. Now let's understand this using a real example. The textile industry. Let's break down the textile industry. Inputs: cotton, labor, a factory, transport, processes, ginning, spinning, weaving, dyeing, printing. Output: a shirt. So cotton goes through many steps before becoming a shirt. This clearly shows how industries work as a system. Now that we have learned everything, let's check your understanding with an exit pass. Now before we end, answer quickly. What is an industry? Name any two types of industries based on raw materials. Write any two factors affecting industrial location. Write your answers in the comment box. These questions will help you revise the most important concepts from Part 1. So today we learned a manufacturing and value addition, what an industry is, how industries are classified, what factors decide industrial location, and how an industrial system works. Great job, everyone! In Part 2, we will continue this chapter and learn more about different industries and their types in detail. Thank you and see you in Part 2.